Well, joining me as we head into another trading week is Larry Tentarelli, who's the Chief Technical Strategist and founder of the Blue Chip Daily Trend Report. Good morning, Larry. Thank you so much for joining me today. So first, another sell-off with massive moves to the downside yesterday. So tell me about your weekly trend outlook for the S&P 500.
Good morning, Remy. Thank you for having me on. So the S&P 500, it's in an interesting place right here. It's in a weekly downtrend. We're trading below the 40-week moving average. We're trading below the 10-week moving average. So it's a weekly downtrend. But with that being said, 2 weeks ago, the S&P 500 had the highest weekly volume in 14 years. And it did that in a major selling flush and reversal. So we've got two trends to look at. We're in a weekly downtrend, but we are in a potential bottoming process. It's very high volatility. But as long as the S&P stays over 4835, then the recovery attempt is intact. But we should expect very, very big volatility ranges like we saw yesterday.
And I do want to ask you very quickly about Bitcoin, as we are looking at Bitcoin up by over 2.5% in New York morning trade today, and it is inching closer to that 90,000 level. But tell me about this crypto major gaining traction as the equity market has been on the downside.
So Bitcoin is bullish here. It recently held over support at 75,000. If Bitcoin can clear 90,000, which it's very close to, then the next target is 100,000 on the chart. And we've seen Bitcoin decouple from the stock market over the past few weeks or so. Bitcoin put in the recent low, I think it was April 6th or 7th, but since then it's been moving higher, even as the stock market's been very volatile. So I don't know if it's weakness in the US dollar and if money is moving into Bitcoin, which is considered an alternate currency. But in either case, Bitcoin, if it can clear 90,000, it's a very bullish chart.
And given all the volatility in the markets, we've also been seeing gold hit new record highs, clearing that 3,500 level. But given the wide daily volatility ranges, we've been seeing a lot of headlines which tend to move the broader markets. Tell me about current positioning.
So I'm long gold. I'm long gold miners, and I've had those positions for a little while now. And gold has been surprisingly strong. I think the big breakdown in the US dollar, if you look at the chart, as the dollar has broken down, gold's continued to break out. So I'm bullish on gold. I'm a little bit concerned that maybe in the near term, it might be getting a bit parabolic. It might be getting extended, in the daily basis. But overall, it's in a pretty strong long-term uptrend. I'm holding my positions. I would like to add on a pullback, but gold's been very strong.
And Larry, earnings season does continue in earnest, and we all know that there's plenty of uncertainty, so it's hard for Wall Street as well as Main Street to understand the long-term impacts of tariffs, not to mention short-term. So in terms of sector as well as asset allocation here, give us an understanding of where you're equal to overweight as well as where you're underweight right now.
Sure. So we're positioned much more defensively right now. I've got much higher than average cash. And the reason for that is because the S&P 500 is so far below the 200-day moving average. So we're overweight on cash, and we're overweight on defensive sectors, stocks like tobacco stock, grocery stocks, utility stock, things that are traditionally lower volatility. They are breaking out. They're making new 52-week highs. They're in uptrends. And we're underweight on tech. I've got very, very little Mag 7 exposure. I do have some tech exposure, Palantir, CrowdStrike, things like that, but we're underweight on tech and we're underweight on cyclicals, banks, energy, industrials, because we just don't know what the picture is for the economy going forward. We don't know what effect tariffs are going to have on the economic cycle. So we are overweight defensives and we're underweight on tech and cyclicals.
And as you mentioned, plenty of uncertainty as we navigate the investment investment landscape. So give us your stock picks right now.
So right now where I'm seeing the best strength, if we look at growth stocks, it would be charts like Netflix, which is just below new highs. They just had a bullish earnings report. In tech, a stock like Palantir has held up very well. But then on the other side of the coin, in the defensive sectors, I like the tobacco stocks. British American Tobacco, Altria is very strong. Kroger in grocery stores has been very strong. And then gold miners, that's really the leading group. I've got exposure there, and I would look to add there on any pullbacks as well.
Welcome to Blue Chip Daily, one of the industry's premier sources for high-level daily technical and trend analysis. Blue Chip Daily is ideal for both investors and traders of all time frames who want to be on the right side of major market moves and trends. We focus on over 750 large cap stocks, all major stock indices, over 70 exchange-traded funds, bonds, oil, gold, and Bitcoin. Sign up now for Blue Chip Daily, and you will get access to real-time portfolio alerts, premium Twitter page with intraday alerts and commentary, the chart of the day with best idea, daily video and report, and much more. Claim 30-day trial at www.bluechipdaily.com. Subscribe to the Blue Chip Daily YouTube channel for more technical and trend analysis videos and other content.